Welcome to Redeeming Thunder. My name is Erica, and we are sharing more regarding Queen Esther's on the rise, Deborah's on the rise. Okay? And Proverbs 31:25 is explaining many attributes that are vital. It's saying strength and dignity are her clothing. That means she wears it. That means it's a mantle. That means the process of him, yahuah, having me have this gift to crochet is a woman that makes her clothes, okay? But not just that. They are anointed and prayed over. And so it's just symbolic. It's not like it has magical powers. Okay, it's not like a cloak. It has magical powers. It is symbolic of when you are wearing the garments, the holy garments. You know how Yahusha provides new clothing. He dresses you in new royal clothing. Now, one could possibly be wearing new clothes, like physically wearing new clothes, but there's a supernatural level to it. There is a consecrated, blessed level to the mantle. And it is symbolic that yahuah is within the temple. The body is the temple. The mantle, the shoshanas that we are wearing represents these attributes of a Proverbs 31 wife. And this is also for those who are waiting for their husband-to-be, kingdom spouse, to come along. It also is stating that she laughs for the days to come. She laughs at any strife that comes towards her direction. Instead of becoming anxious, yelling with panic, yelling with frustration, very worried and depressed. These are like yokes. These are like, you don't want to be dressed in those types of negative attributes, negative energy. She remembers who provides, even to the point of who provides her a husband, who provides her a kingdom spouse. She's not even worrying about when he's going to show up. You know, she's not chasing after the man, hounding him down. Because, the old-fashioned method is the man seeks the woman. So we go down to those roots. Okay? And we also need to understand that you need to trust even to that level. I had a dream recently regarding, I saw someone in the process of being introduced to her kingdom spouse. And so this verse matters very, very much, and it's very true. The dream first began because I had several dreams for Yahusha helping me explain the Proverbs 31 wife and also the kingdom marriages. When I started this series, he said he was going to give me the knowledge and the wisdom to provide. And I thought that he was going to give me a rhema word, and instead he was giving me in visions and dreams. So the first dream that I had was weeks ago. So we're in August 2024. So it was sometime in July, and he had me watching these individuals. So this woman is at this house, and she is friends with the sister, and she's helping the sister prep something for another individual. And while that is going on, the father comes into the room, and as the sister is moving her big project into the garage, there's time for some chatting. And so this woman is chatting with his children, and she starts saying, I remember, that this occurred in the past where it's kind of silly, maybe I shouldn't bring it up. He's like, no, tell me what happened. And then she says, we were very young, and we had the same class, and one day on the playground, your son said, meet me at the middle of underneath the cover, and I want to show you something. And so she went over there, and then when they got there, she says, close your eyes, and then okay, open your eyes. That's what he said. And so she's standing there in shock, because he has a bundle of dandelions, and he has him reached out to her, and he proposes. He says, will you marry me? And this is grade school, so of course she's gonna be like, no, and then it starts to become awkward. And then what was happening is he was doing this in front of another girl that was standing right there. And that other little boy also was asking the other little girl, that was this woman, to marry her as well. Okay, so both girls said no. And then the boys were shocked, and they said, why not? And then, we could go on for hours explaining, well, we're very young. We're only like 6 years old, That's what the girls were saying. And like, if the other little boy was like, well, if you don't marry him, will you marry me? To one woman, or to one little girl that now is a woman. And then, she says no again, because she was like, what's going on here? She just wants to play in the playground. She doesn't understand. Okay. And so they're like, well, if you don't say yes, we're going to chase you in the playground forever. So then both girls, the story that this woman is telling the father, both girls, they book it, and they start running in the playground, trying to run away from the boys. And it was just very cute, okay? And the father started chuckling, and he was saying, you should remind my son of that story. And she's like, oh no, I don't want to. That's embarrassing. He's like, no, I think you should. Why not? There's no harm in it. And so then he's like, and he gave her a plant that was on a very, very rare plant that had white leaves with some, I'm not sure if it has a little bit of purple or green on it, but it was a plant. And he's like, why don't you plant this in his garden? This is what the father said. Why don't you plant this in his garden and his little patch? Because the family members had each had a certain section in the home outside that was their little section where they get to plant whatever they wanted. Okay, so she's like, why don't you plant this right in his section and just leave it there. And so she grabs the plant and she starts walking to the garage, which realizes that her friend still has some more things that she left and needs to bring to the garage. So this woman grabs some items that were a little bit too heavy. So when she made it into the garage, they fell, and there were some pellets that fell. And so the son was there with a friend, and the friend hears all the commotion in the garage that this woman just dropped, and she's like, I accidentally dropped this, I didn't mean to. Can you ask can you ask him to come and help me pick it up? And so he says, sure, no problem. And then she felt very bad because she dropped something, and he said that's fine, and he kissed her on the back the back or top of the head. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she grabbed her plant, and she, as everybody was working on that project to get it in the garage, she went to that little garden space and planted that plant. Okay? And when that occurred, someone came to come visit him that was a girl that actually liked him, and she was trying to be with him. Okay? And an out loud conversation, he starts to ask, what do you think about when you see someone kiss someone else's nose, the tip of their nose? And then nobody's answering, so then I just answer, and I say, well, it seems like it's an endearing gesture. It's a sweet gesture, something that you admire or you care for that person, and it is very sincere and tender. I don't think it's anything other than that. And he's like, oh, okay. And so later on, because that other girl was there and was continuing to pursue that brother, right? That friend's brother. This woman decides, I'm not going to plant this plant in his garden because she might try to trample on it. It's a very rare plant. And so then she decides to dig it out and take it with her, maybe not plant it at all in that anywhere in that home. Okay? But he already saw her plant that plant in his garden space. So then it was time for her to go home, and so she's just going to go home with her little plant, and then he meets her and says, wait, hold up a minute. And so he meets her again, chasing her down, and says, do you want to talk about that kiss on the nose a little bit more? And she's like, if you want to, I guess. And so then they had this connection in a really unusual way that I was observing, that would be like, it was like a special moment that they clicked. Okay, in a movie I watched, a little kids movie a long time ago, they said they zinged. Okay, so it was something along the lines. And so after waking up from that dream, I realized that the way that Yahuwah wants me to explain being a Proverbs 31 wife would be allowing the man to do the chasing. Okay, that is the role. Allowing for the seed to be planted. That was part of the plant being planted in his little garden space. And it has a lot to do with gentle, nice gestures. No one's chasing anybody. It was just a plant, if you notice that. But it was given by a father. So then the father represented the Heavenly Father that gives you something to work with, to plant the seed in order for love to begin to grow. Okay? And so in this stance, it was a plant. The seed was already sprouted and there was already leaves. So there was already some establishment of some growth. And sometimes when we try to get in the way, we decide to not do Yahuwah's plans and or uproot what was already rooted in there. And you know what? Because sometimes people get afraid and they're going to say, I'm going to go find my own man because the one that Yahuwah maybe has, maybe it's a lie, maybe it's just a dream, maybe it's just make believe. It's never going to happen. So I need to go out and find him for myself. And so she probably that's what she did. That's what she probably thought. And she's like, I'm going to, he's probably already taken. There's some other woman pursuing him. Really naggy about it, okay? Throwing herself at him, and so maybe it is not in the right place to interfere with that, so you feel like I'm just going to uproot that plant. And it was just a kind gesture. It wasn't invading on anything in a extreme invasion, okay, type of manner. It was just a little plant, like a nice gift. Okay, and so sometimes you think, I gotta pull that plant out, gotta uproot it. But guess what? Yahuwah knows that you kind of messed up a little bit and didn't do some full-blown trusting. And so part of the dream that I saw was he made it be where the man saw her planting it. Okay? He saw her planting it and was like, it planted something in his heart, even though he doesn't understand it all the way. He just has this pull, this draw towards that person. And a Proverbs 31 wife, or wife in the making, are those that are princesses. Okay? They're in the making. You're a princess. He's giving me a lot of prophetic word regarding princess lately. Princess status, you become queen status with depending on the calling and depending on the mantle, okay, depending on the assignment that you have. Not everybody is a queen, but depending on that and at his time frame and the requirements that he has, and it's an extreme amount of consecration and secret place type of interactions. Besides that calling, one has to have a kingdom spouse, a kingdom marriage. Like, you need a king to be a queen, if that makes any sense. You could be with someone that's not king status and you are meant to be queen, but the person that you are with could not be king status, or not yet, or won't be. Might be in the wrong relationship. Alright, so besides that, it's that segment that he wants me to speak about is she does not look out for her husband to find a husband, okay, because she has full trust that Yahuwah has everything in his hands and is going to be providing one for her. It's going to cross paths and you're going to have that encounter to meet that special somebody. But in order for you to cross paths, you have to be having these certain attributes that he needs you to. You need to heal. You need to have hope. A lot of women know a lot of scriptures, but a lot of women do not believe the scriptures that is written in there. So you actually have to believe what you're reading. You actually have to believe the prophetic word that is for you. You can't just expect all these wonderful things to happen and you had no hope or belief in it. So that's what I have to say about the latest advice is strength and dignity and hope in Yahuwah. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the following prophetic dream regarding kingdom spouses. Shalom.